Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the EntreMD Business School is open for enrollment. The EntreMD Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the EntreMD podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the EntreMD Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. As an entrepreneur, how do you get the right people to fall in love with your business? So they want to work with you. They want to deploy their gifts and their talents and their strengths and their expertise to help you fulfill whatever goals and vision it is you have for your business, right? This is a question that I get asked, and I want to take a moment to unpack that. So welcome to another episode of the EntreMD podcast. Of course, I am super pumped that I get to be in your ears. Thank you so much for being a listener. I want to ask you really quickly for a favor. If you've listened to any episode, even if it's just one, and you're like, I really love this podcast, I want you to head over to iTunes and leave us a review. It really does help us get the word out. It helps the algorithm say, hey, doctors really like this. Let's show it to more doctors. And if you're like, oh my goodness, I've done a review, then I want you to take a screenshot of this and post it on your social media and say, hey guys, I'm a physician. There is this really amazing podcast that is truly the free MBA for physicians. I want you to subscribe to it and I want you to listen to it. Tag me #EntreMD because I want to thank you for it. And I'll start from here. Thank you. Okay. Now let's talk about this. Okay. Cause I get asked this question, like we want the right people to come work with us and we want them to love working with us. How do we get them to fall in love? And this is a concept. The concept I'm going to discuss is so simple. It's not necessarily easy, but it's very simple. And once you get it, everything begins to change for you. Okay. All right. So the first thing is this: nobody truly cares about your company. Nobody is going to care about your vision the way you do. Like your company is your problem. Like it's your thing. Okay. Because if you think about it, you are thinking about your vision, your company, where you're trying to go, what you need, what you want for your family all the time. And you have to understand that the people who are potential candidates to work in your company, they're thinking about the same thing. They're thinking about themselves. Okay. They're not thinking about your company. And you don't want to try to make people fall in love with your company because they don't care. Like they just don't care. And not in a bad way, but this is the way my husband says it. He says that everybody is tuned into a radio station called WIIFM, which is what's in it for me. You have to understand that your vision is powerful. What you're doing is powerful, but people, for the most part, are thinking about themselves most of the time. Okay. And so if you want to build a company where people come in, they want to be a part of it, they want to drive the vision and all of those things, then you really want to start thinking about your employees, your potential employees, the way you think about potential clients or potential patients. So let me break this down. So say you own a private practice and you want to bring another doctor in and you want this doctor to love working with you, love their job, love all of that. Okay. What you need to think about is two things. Number one, what is the pain that that doctor has as far as their career goes. Okay. What is the pain? And then the second thing is how does your company, how does your practice solve that pain? So let me bring this all the way home. So say there was a doctor, and there are many doctors, a doctor who's burned out because they work weekends, they work nights, they work after hours, they work all the time, they take call at the hospital. Okay. So they're doing all of that. They're burned out. They're in a place where they are devalued, right? Like maybe devalued by administration or devalued by whatever, but they're like really, really devalued. Okay. Let's also say that this person is a parent of young children and they hate that, they can't drop their kids off at school. They hate that they miss dinner. They hate all of those things. Okay. So let's say, that's this physician and I want you to think about it. This is their pain point. Okay. Now, that pain can be solved by a specific practice. So I can use my practice as an example, my pediatric practice. And in my practice, the start time is 9:30 a.m. And which means if you wanted to drop your kids off at school or you wanted to have breakfast with them or whatever, even if you wanted to take them an appointment, you can take them and then come to work. Okay. They get out of work at 5:30. Okay. And really the last patient is scheduled that by 5:00 you should be done. And at 5:30, there's all this admin time and all of that stuff, right? So you can finish up whatever, because my goal is for the doctors to come to work and work hard while they're at work and go home and not think about my practice at all. Like not think of doing notes afterwards, not think of anything like that. Okay. All right. So now, in my practice, we value the physicians we work with. We allow their voice to be heard. They make contributions to what they do. They're treated, they're treated well. Okay. They don't cover the hospital. Okay. They don't have weekend hours. They don't even have overnight hours. Okay. So I want you to think about it. So there is a doctor who is looking for that. And my practice, our values are such that you have that, right? Now, this person will fall in love with my practice because it provides a solution to the pain that that doctor has. Now, there may be somebody else whose primary motivation is I want to earn the most I can earn. I heard in this rural place, if I go there, I will earn that. There's really nothing I can do to make that person fall in love with my practice because I don't solve that problem. Do you see what I'm saying? And so you really want to think in those terms. So my practice has a character. My practice has values. This is the kind of career we can create for a doctor, right? Then you have to think like, who has the pain that my practice solves? So you're not trying to be everything to everyone. So for instance, sometimes people will say, will you just give me the job description for the pediatrician, for your job ad so I can model after that? I'm like, the problem with that is I am very clear on what I'm looking for. I'm very clear who we're a great fit for. I'm very clear who's not a great fit here. I'm very clear how, working here can be one of the best things that happened in your career. I'm very clear on that. And so my ad is specifically written to attract that kind of person. But for you, your core values may be different. The people that your practice is a gift to or your business is a gift to may be different. So copying and pasting will get you a doctor ideal for me, and they're going to walk into your business and it's different and it's not going to match. Do you see? So this is why I'm taking the time to explain the thinking behind it. Okay. So what value do we bring to a doctor as far as their career is concerned? What is the pain that this solves? And then you get to articulate that. Now, this puts the team member in a position where they can come in and they can fall in love with working in your business because it is a win-win situation, meaning you got the kind of team member you wanted and they're producing and all of that. And they got the kind of job they wanted and is giving them, putting them in a position where they have more autonomy, like burnout is no longer a thing and all of that, right? So you think about it that way. How do I create a win-win situation? The win for me is that the person is able to fit the role. And the win for them is that in fitting that role, their pain is relieved. Once you can get these two things, you can think about it, you can articulate it, you can put it down. Now you set the stage, because what happens is when you see someone who's not a good fit, they stand out. When you see someone who's a good fit, they stand out. Why? Because you know exactly what you're looking for. Okay. All right. So I want you to think about this. Okay. You've decided, this is the kind of practice we are. This is the kind of pain points we solve. These are the kind of doctors we're looking for. And so this puts you in a position where you're not trying to convince anybody. The last thing you want to do is convince and manipulate somebody into coming into your practice who's not a good fit, or coming to your business who's not a good fit. Because after you manipulate them or convince them to come, you have to spend the entire time they work for you convincing them and manipulating them to stay. So you want to find the person who is a perfect fit, who wants to be there. They're actually looking for a practice like yours. Okay? All right. Now that you have the pain and what it's like to work with you and all of that clearly articulated, the next thing, this will not matter if you don't do the next thing I'm going to talk about. Okay. Once you have it, like your clients, the next thing is to work on your visibility. Now, I wrote a book called The Visibility Formula. And if you haven't gotten your copy, oh my goodness, go get your copy on tramdcom/visibility, visibility book. Okay. Go get your copy. But when you read it, you'll hear me say that, visibility is not only about getting new clients and all of that, it's also about getting team members. Okay. Now, I've talked about this for a long time, but there are a number of doctors I've worked with for a bit, and we've been working on this team. We've been working on visibility. We've been working on articulating what it is you want and all of these things. And it is so beautiful. Okay. It is so beautiful to see what's happening. So to explain what's happening, I have to explain something first. In the EntreMD Business School, we talk about the snowball effect, where you have worked on your visibility, you've worked on selling, you've been doing this for long enough, where in the beginning, it's like a lot of effort, a little result. But now you're at a position where a little effort, a lot of result. We call it the snowball, right? Where it's like everything you touch turns to gold. There are many of the doctors in the EntreMD Business School who are in this phase. We call it the snowball phase. But that's a snowball phase for clients and patients. But there's a snowball phase for employees, where you've put yourself out there. You've positioned yourself as a place to work. You've shown people why this is a great place to work. You've articulated the kind of person who's a perfect fit for my company. You showcase people who work with you, and you showcase you and your team members doing things so people can see this is a great place to work. You do it long enough, and then you hit the snowball. So what is happening to a number of doctors is now they are having people reach out to them. So somebody's a fellow and reaches out. I'm going to graduate, in 7 months. I'm going to graduate in 12 months. I would love to work with you if that timeline works. We have, people going like, I heard about you at XYZ place. Can I come work with you? They're actually flying down to go see them and decided, oh my goodness, I want to work here. And so now they're beginning to hit that snowball effect for employees. Is the most magical thing to see. But why are they hitting it? Because they are applying the principles of visibility, right? And so you've articulated what you want. You've articulated who's a perfect fit. You've articulated the pain that your business solves for them. But if you don't put it out there, nobody knows. And if nobody knows, nobody can come work with you. Nobody can seek you out. Okay. So number one, be very clear on the pain that the doctors have that your business solves. Number two, be very clear on the result, on the outcome, what it will be like if they come and work for you, what life will look like on the other side of working for you. Number three, apply all the principles of visibility. So put it out there on social media. Tell your friends you're hiring. Tell other doctors in that field, I'm looking for this kind of doctor. Post it in social media groups. When you go to events, network and tell them I'm hiring. This is something you're talking about nonstop. Right? Why are you doing this? Because if you do it, you will find the people you need. And if you do it long enough, then you create the snowball where you can say, 15 people applied for this position, but we could only take one. And that can be your reality. But these are the three things that you need to do. Okay. Now, building a team, building a great team is one of the things that is probably the hardest one of the hardest things you do as an entrepreneur, but it is also the most rewarding. Okay. So you may listen to this and you're like, oh my goodness, don't know where to start. I gave you 3 things. So I want you to just go 1, 2, 3, start working on it. And as you work on it, oh my goodness, everything will change for you. Okay. And you get to this place where your company is one of these places where people apply to work, people want to work. You have a waiting list when others can't find people to hire. Okay. So that is what I wish for every single one of you. So go take the action, go start it. All right. And if you need help with these processes, of course, this is what we do in the EntreMD Business School and, the other ways we have to help people. And if it's something that you're like, yep, I'm ready for that, entremd.com/call, entremd.com/call. And I would be very, transparent with you. We are not a high pressure sales company. We are not a people trying to strong arm you to make a sale. We are truly looking for physicians, again, same principle, who have the pain that we solve. And if it's a match made in heaven, we'll go ahead and work together. That's really all that this is. Okay. All right. So don't forget to share this episode on social media. Tell your friends, oh my goodness, if you have one employee, just one, you need to listen to this. If you're looking for employees, you need to listen to this. If you haven't been able to find a doctor for your private practice, you need to listen to this. If you haven't been able to find a business manager, a podcast manager, whatever it is, you need to listen to this. Okay. And they will thank you forever. And I will see you, my friend, on the next episode of the EntreMD podcast.